Hi, you clicked and open up this video because you have interest in migrating to Canada. If you have interest in migrating to Canada, you need to do a lot of work. You need to understand how it works, the expenses that you would incur, and the process. This video is created to provide you with advice to check your eligibility to migrate to Canada under Express Entry System and guide you how to obtain further information to proceed with your application by following step-by-step guide given in my book under the name Maxwell's Canadian Migration Guide. Maxwell's Canadian Migration Guide is published in Amazon.com. Let me give you a brief introduction as to what made me to write a book on Canadian migration. When I decided to migrate to Canada, I had two options to apply. One was to get services of a migration agent, and the other was to do it by myself. I inquired about the fees of a number of migration agents and found that they were charging fees at different stages of the application process, and finally it ends up around US dollars 3,000 to US dollars 5,000, depending on the number of members in your family, the workload of the agent, the reputation of the agent, and also the track record of the agent. Then I thought that I'm a graduate of a leading university. I have studied and passed complex subjects than this somewhat simple migration process. I asked from myself, why not study about the immigration process to Canada and apply on my own? That is why you also have clicked my video, because you are trying to see whether you could apply on your own. As such, I visited Canadian Immigration Department website that provide information about immigration to Canada. There were so many programs of immigration and so much of information on them. And the issue was that I could not easily find out what would be the best avenue for me to apply as an immigrant. There were lots of links to click from one page to another. And it got a little confused. I got confused because there was so much of information. However, with lots of hard work, I found that the express entry system was the most appropriate and easy method for me to migrate to Canada. But I found that the information given in the website is not very user-friendly, as there was so much of information, as I told you earlier. Then I thought, if there would have been a book which is written specifically to deal with the express entry system, it would have been much better. Then I browsed the internet to find out whether there is a book available of that sort, but I could not find. Therefore, I had no other option than going through the Canadian website and many other videos published on this issue, and also to visit many websites of the migration agents and collect all the information that I will require to apply through express entry system. As such, I collected a lot of information, but I kept that in a specific folder. And also, I printed them on a specific file, kept them on a specific file, as and when I wanted to refer, even offline. Some of my friends who knew that I have successfully applied on my own, and they sought advice from me as to process of application. As it took as it took a lot of my time to describe the step-by-step process of express entry system, I gave them the compiled information printed by me for them to refer. After applying on their own by referring to my compiled information, they were so happy and told me that my step-by-step process compilation of information to express entry system was very helpful to them and should make it available for others interested in applying for their ease of use. As such, I wrote a book with my practical experience and with further suggestions given by my friends who used my compiled information. Therefore, the book is written in the viewpoint of an applicant who wishes to learn the step-by-step process clearly and apply on his or her own. The book helps you to understand the process well and apply on your own and save money in the process of migration to Canada. I do hope that these videos will help you to apply on your own and wish you good luck with your application. Today, I will make a short presentation on how to check your eligibility to migrate to Canada. The first step of the express entry migration process that I have described in detail in the chapter 2 of my book. First thing you need to do is, in order to check your eligibility, you need to go to Canadian website and find out the comprehensive ranking system score calculation. It is called CRS. CRS is an abbreviation of comprehensive ranking system adopted by the Canadian Immigration Department to let a prospective applicant to find out the points that could be obtained to express entry migration process. Then the applicant could decide whether he or she may stand a chance to get migrated once you check your eligibility. If the CRS score meets or passes the current cutoff rate, which is published by the Immigration Department within monthly or so, then one could apply to receive an invitation to apply. That is called IT from the Canadian government. Therefore, this is the most important first step one should take in process of applying for Canadian express entry migration. There is no fee involved in obtaining your score through the CRS scoring system. All what you have to do is to go to Google and type CRS calculator. You will land on Canadian government website that provides free online assessment. Most of the migration agents, first thing they do is this. Sometimes they charge for this. Then complete the online form to find out your score. It will assess your skills, education, language, work experience, age, relationships, and connections to Canada, etc. My advice is, even before you attempt to take your language ability courses like IELTS, or before you get your education credentials evaluated, you should find out your average score. To do so, initially, you need to assume a score that you will get for IELTS and assume that your education qualifications are equivalent to Canadian qualifications. How do you assume your IELTS score? Depending on your ability of English language, or by doing few sample tests on the internet. There are lots of sample tests in the internet. So do one of those or few of those and get a fair idea that how much of band score you might get for writing, speaking, reading, and listening skills. So write down that on a piece of paper. Then assume your degree or degrees are equivalent to Canadian qualifications. How do you do that? Just find out how many of your university mates have migrated through similar qualifications, or else you could talk to your university and find out whether your degrees are acceptable by the Canadian authorities. Most of the degrees are accepted, but there are certain criteria that you need to follow. So then you can assume that your local education qualifications are equivalent to Canadian qualifications. The above two steps will help you to enter your qualification in CRS system and have an idea of the chance that you may have in migrating through express entry system by checking your CRS score. It will save time and money in sitting for exams and to get accreditation. If you hope to use a migration agent, please do not pay any advance payment for them before you assess your CRS score. Information that you enter to check CRS score has nothing to do with your real application, and you can use this independently of your application. As such, you can change certain information that you enter to find what if scenarios as well. Say, for instance, you have a degree now and you enter the bachelor's degree and you get a cutoff mark. Then you will also see this might not be sufficient. Then you can enter that you have a master's degree. Then you get a different score. So likewise, you can do many adjustments or entries and find out how would be your score. So in order to do this CRS score and how it works, you need to have an idea what are the factors they consider in giving points and how it is calculated. So let me share my screen so that I would be able to give you a better explanation. Hope you can see my screen now. Let me explain how comprehensive ranking system works. How many points are there in the comprehensive CRS score system? You have a total of 1,200 points. It is divided into three factors, namely co-human factors, skill transferability factors, and additional factors. Let's check what are the elements taken into consideration in these three factors. The co-human capital factors. You get 500 points for this, the maximum of 500 points. So age gets a maximum of 110. So age in the bracket of, say, if you're around 19 to 29, you get the maximum, that is 110. When you get older, your marks would decline. So I have explained all these things in the book. Then the education is maximum you can get is 150. Assume that you have a PhD, you get 150. You have a master's degree, 135. You have a secondary 2 degrees, you might get 128. So all these things are there in the book. So language, there are two official languages in Canada. One is English, the other one is French. Assume that you do both well. For English, you can get 136, and French, you can get 24. So total of 160 is available for languages. Then the Canadian work experience, if you have worked in Canada, then you can get 80 marks. So that is how this 500 marks is calculated. So this component will split between you and your spouse if you're going with your spouse. So then the other point is that you have as to skill transferability factors. 100 points are given for that. So 500 points are for human capital factors, 100 points for skill transferability factors. So what are the skill transferability factors? Education, you can get 50. Foreign work experience, you can get 50. Certificate of qualification from Canada, you can get 50. So maximum you can get is 100 points. Assume that you have official language proficiency that you need to show from your IELTS and education. Coupled with that, there's a formula, you get 50. Canadian work experience, again coupled with the education, you get 50. So education, you can get 50 plus another 50. Then the subtotal, however, is going to do 50 because 100 is not calculated there. So from the education, you will get a 50. So most of you may have a language proficiency and education, even though you don't have Canadian work experience. So you can get 50 out of that maximum. The foreign work experience is official language and foreign work experience. If you have work experience in your own country, you can get 50 for that as well. So Canadian and foreign working, if you have Canadian experience as well as foreign, you can get 50. The maximum you can get for this element is also 50. Therefore, even if you have a certificate qualification from Canada, that you have to go there and get it. So even for that is 50. However, the maximum you can get for skill transferability is 50. It is coupled with your education and qualifications. Then you have additional factors. So additional factors, the maximum is 600. So assume that you can get provincial nomination, you get the maximum 600. Assume that you have a job offer, you get 200. Study in Canada, you have studied in Canada, you can get up to 30. You have a sibling, brother or sister, you or your common law partner or spouse is having a brother or sister in Canada, not cousins. There again, you can get 50. The French language skills that you need to prove by an exam also will get another 50. And the maximum you can get for this is 600. So you don't get all these are not, and all these points are not added. Maximum you can get is 600. So let's see how it works by an example later on. So if you log on to Amazon.com and search Maxwell's Canadian Migration Guide, all these things are explained in detail. So apart from that, let's take an example. Go online and do a practical exercise to familiarize with you on checking your most important CRA score. In order to do so, we need to assume certain things. Assume you are a male, 8 years old. Just write down this on a piece of paper. Unmarried, have a master's degree, have 5 years experience in your country. You have a IELTS, you have taken the IELTS exam, assumption again. Speaking, you have got 7.5. Listening, you have got 8. Reading, you have got 8. Writing, you have got 8. So you have not received a job offer from Canada. You are not studied in Canada. You don't have relations in Canada. No provincial nominations in Canada. So all these things are assumptions that you need to write in a piece of paper in order to do this exam, in order to do this follow actually the example. So let's go to Google and let me share my screen again. Let's go to internet. Right? You go to the Google, and if you type CRA score calculator, you will land on this page. So try and click the first link, which is www.cic.gceca. This is Canadian official site, not any one else's, because there are so many links given by agents, but better you go to the Canadian official site. So it is www.cic.gceca. So press this, click this, sorry. When you click this link, you will get into the Canadian official site, Government of Canada. You will see the flag and the government of Canada written on top. So you go down and see the first question. So this is what we are going to enter. So what is your marital status? So we assume that you are not married, so you have to select never married or single, right? So your age, how old are you? So we assume that your age is 28 years. What is your level of education? Earn a Canadian degree, diploma, or certificate, or had an educational credential assessment. So you need to assume that you had education assessment, and it is an equivalent to Canadian degree. So we have assumed that you have a master's degree. Have you earned a Canadian degree, diploma, or anything like that? So we have assumed that you are not done so. No. Then they will ask a question. Official languages. Canada's official languages are French, English, and French. So we need to submit the results. So they will first ask, are your test results are less than 2 years old? So let's see. Say yes. Which language test did you take for your first official language? So we have two official. So assume that you have done only one. So that is IELTS. Then we assume that we would get certain marks for the exam. So we assume you would get 8 for speaking, so 7.5 to 9 you select. Listening, also you said we assume 8, select 8. Reading, we also assume 8. Writing, we also assumed 8. So you have entered all 4 band scores. Do you have other language test? Assume that you are not done a French test. So if you want to really, you can do it in order to improve your scores. But here we say not applicable. Then you need to add your work experience. In the last 10 years, how many years of skilled work experience in Canada you have? So we assume that we do not have such work experience. Say none. In the last 10 years, how many total years of foreign skilled work? That is the work that you have in your own country. It is called foreign because it is not Canada. So you say 3 years or more. Do you have a certificate of qualification from Canadian province, territory, or federal body? Since we are not been to Canada and we are not obtained such a qualification, we say no. So additional points. Let's go to additional points. Do you have a valid job offer supported by a labor market impact assessment? We don't have such. So we say no. Do you have a nomination certificate from a province or a territory? Since we are not applied for, we don't have, so we say no. Do you have do you or your spouse or common law partner have at least one brother or sister living in Canada who is a citizen or a permanent resident? And they should be 18 years old, related to you, partner by blood, marriage, common law partnership, or adoption. So you don't have that as well, so you say no. Then you have add all the information that you assumed here. So you have added your, let me check, marital status, age, level of education, then the official language test, work experience, and the additional points. Then all what you have to do is click this button, calculate your score. Once you press it, you will see age you have got 110, level of education 135, right? So official language you have got 133, and the total score for human capital factors is 378. The spouse factors, we have not entered anything. We are just said unmarried, so you don't get anything out of that. Skill transferability, you have got official language proficiency and education 50, official language proficiency and foreign work experience 50. So maximum you have got 100. So additional points, we didn't have any provincial nomination, job offer, study in Canada, sibling in Canada, French language skills, etc. So therefore, we don't get any marks for that. So the comprehensive ranking system formula, the grand score is 478, all 3 elements. So this is what you have received for your CRS score. So this provides you the eligibility. You can always go and create a profile, and you can also see that you can change whatever you want, and you can see how it works. Assume that you can receive a job offer, which is a difficult job, but a lot of people get that as well. Say, do you have, say for instance, do you have a valid job offer supported by labor market? Assume you say yes. Then it will ask the type of job. Say you have a job in the managerial or executive level. Then you can enter that and calculate your score. You will get further marks for your job offer. So you get 200 more for job offer. You see, 200 more. So that is how it is. So you get 678 if you can get a job offer. So most of the people who are having low marks as a result of age or education, they would try to get a job offer. Sometimes some of the applicants who have low scores will also try to get a provincial nomination, which gives you straight away 600 marks. So that also you can apply, attempt, which is not an easy task, but you can do it. So I have explained all these things in my book, how to apply for provincial nominations as well. Even for that, in most cases, you need to create a profile creation and put your application in the pool. So anyway, just this is how you calculate. So it is better you do this rather than going into another person, another agent, so that you get some obligation. So let's see how it works after that. Let me share another file so that I could explain that what would happen after you get this score and you find that you are eligible. How do you proceed? Let me share another file of mine. Right. So once you've done this, you will know that whether you are eligible or not. Most of you would get eligible somewhere around 450 or above, but you may have to do certain other things. Sometimes you may have to apply for provincial nomination or try and get a job also to enhance your marks. That could be done later on if you really want. So when you ascertain your eligibility to apply, you can practice and sit for the IELTS or your French exams. Also get your education qualification assessed. Then you can apply online. This is called profile creation. There is no payment at this time as well. All you need is to make an application in the internet that is called profile creation. It is free to apply online. In most cases, even to apply for provincial nominations, you need to have created a profile. If your profile is accepted, then you will receive an invitation to apply. That is the green light. Then you need to submit copies of your certificates and many other documents. That is also done online. Then only you pay your application fees to the Canadian Immigration Department. I have explained all these elements in my book. If your application is accepted, you will get an email to get your visa stamped. I have explained step-by-step process of this in my book called Maxwell's Canadian Migration Guide. This is the cover page that you will get when you go to Amazon.com and type Maxwell's Canadian Migration Guide. You will get into this. So let me explain how to proceed with this further information. So this book is now purchased by many, so I'm glad to say that. So I have got a lot of positive response. It has following chapters. The first chapter is Introduction to Express Entry System. The next chapter is how to check your eligibility, which we have discussed today. Chapter 3 gives you how to get your educational qualifications assessed, right? You need to get into World Education Services website and send your credentials and send your assessor, the transcripts to them directly from your university and pay a fee for them. Then how it be done is explained there. Then we have the chapter 4, language requirements, and what is IELTS, how do you take the exams, what kind of tuition is available, and what kind of exam fees you have to pay. Then you have to create an online application that is called profile creation. I have explained very well in detail how you create a profile, which is the most important application that you make officially in order to get invited. That is called ITA, invitation to apply. Then the chapter 6 describes submitting the required documents online. So how do you submit the documents? That is the 5th step. So I have described that in detail, how you submit the documents. Once you receive your ITA, you need to submit all these documents. These are the medical test report, police clearance, proof of funds, letter of references, marriage certificates. His spouse is also migrating, birth certificates of you, your wife, and your children, passports of all the family members, photographs of all who are migrating, and any job letters, provincial nominations if you have, and how you pay the fees. Then I have also explained in detail how to take medical tests, what kind of tests should be taken by your family members. Then I also have described the job categories eligible for migration in my chapter 8. Then again, I go on to describe how to find a job in Canada, which is very important for you. That is described in chapter 9. Then the most importantly, I have explained the estimating the expenses of your migration. So then you can save money and you can arrange money. All those things are explained there. Finally, I also explain, give an introduction to provincial nomination programs of Canada. So once you have all these things, you would be in a better position to do your own application and also be confident with your application. Even if you're going into an agent to get information, you would be a knowledgeable applicant. It would help you as well as the agent in order to proceed with your application. All what you have to do is just log on to Amazon.com and type Maxwell's Canadian Migration Guide. You'll be able to view the book. There is a free app given by Amazon. You can view the book online for free. If you really want to buy the book, you can buy the book and download it on an e-version, which is just $10. Then you can refer as and when you want. So I thank you so much for watching this video, and I wish you good luck with your Canadian migration application. All the best. Thank you very much.